Would you like to make your already amazing weapons even better? Well, in this video, I'll go over a Warlock build that allows you to more than double your damage in PvE. Coming up.
The darkness crowds the edges of this system.
The goal of this build is simple. Stack as many damage buffs and debuffs as possible so we can become an ad-killing machine. I'm not just saying drop a bubble and have a teammate drop a tether. I'm talking about a solo build that can proc all of the damage buffs on its own and keep your mobility so you can still run and gun. We're essentially trying to get Rampage times 10. The foundation of this build is Mantle of Battle Harmony. This is a new exotic from this season. You get it from Legend and Master Lost sectors on Europa, the Cosmodrome, or the Moon. Getting kills with weapons that have an element that matches your subclass give you additional super energy. If your super is full, you get a 20% damage buff. This also stacks with global buffs like Well, Rift, Bubble, or High Energy Fire, but we'll go over that in a minute. Before we get deep into the mods, we need to determine our loadout. We'll be killing so many things, so the subclass we're gonna run is Bottom Tree Nova Bomb for Devour. You kill things, you get healed. It's just an obvious choice. For the weapons, well, you saw the thumbnail. Really anything that is both void and can roll with Rampage. Rampage will stack with our chest piece buff, and once you get 3 stacks, it's a 33% buff. In the energy slot, I'd recommend Bottom Dollar or Palindrome, as long as it has Rampage. If you don't have one of these hand cannons, you can always farm Umbrals for a Brass Attack sidearm with Rampage, Frenzy, or One for All. In the heavy slot, you really want a Commemoration, ideally with Reconstruction and Rampage. Reconstruction for a large magazine and for auto-loading while you use your other weapons. Since those will both have Rampage, make sure you throw on a Rampage spec to give you an extra second before needing to get a kill. Now, we're in an interesting situation here with the machine gun. Once you ramp your damage up enough, you'll end up just one-shotting everything, so you'll basically be using it instead of your primary. If you feel like that's the case and you have a Bone Chiller with Rampage, please try it out and let me know if it's worth using in place of your primary. Bone Chiller being the Europa Precision Shotgun, and yes, it is void and can roll with Rampage. And just for a little bit more synergy with our machine gun, it can also roll with Lead for Gold. I don't have one yet, but you know I'll be farming for it now. Same thing with Deafening Whisper, the waveform grenade launcher from Wrathborn hunts. If you can get an Ambitious Assassin and Rampage roll on that, that would be amazing. I skipped over the kinetic slot partially because it doesn't matter too much, but what I've ultimately decided on was Wither Horde, a very strong special weapon that can get kills while you build up stacks of Rampage with your other weapons. Like I said, it doesn't really matter, so feel free to change this to your favorite kinetic weapon. So now onto the mods. High Energy Fire is a Charge with Light mod that increases your damage by 20% while you're charged with light, and consumes a stack each time you get a kill. Since this will be constantly taking stacks, we'll need to find a good source of getting charged with light. Since we're going to be using the Commemoration the most, I figured Sustained Charge would fit in perfectly. Getting rapid kills with a machine gun gives you charged with light. On top of that, we have stacks on stacks to give us 2 stacks instead of 1. Now here's where I would like to add Elemental Well mods, but they don't really seem to be worth it. If you want to try them out for yourself, I would recommend going with Elemental Armaments and Font of Might. Getting kills with your void weapons spawn wells, and then picking them up gives you a 10% damage buff that lasts for 5 seconds. This isn't awful, but I don't know, it just doesn't last long enough, and they don't spawn frequently enough due to their inherent cooldown between spawns. If you decide Elemental Wells aren't your thing, do what I did and just double down on High Energy Fire. What I decided on was Blast Radius to get Charge with Light from kills with Wither Horde, and Taking Charge to get Charge with Light from picking up Orbs of Power. These give you 3 ways to get Charge with Light, then stacks on stacks ensures you get 2 stacks, and as you spend your High Energy Fire, you get more stacks back. We're not done there though. Everything so far will be available to use for the foreseeable future, so if you're watching this video in the future, the build kinda ends here, but this season, Season of the Chosen, we have Sundering Glare in our artifact. Rapid precision hits against distant targets weakens them. This is a 20% debuff, which will be extremely easy to proc. Just stand a little farther back and continue to shoot people with your machine gun. Very simple. Time to round out the other mod slots with Machine Gun Scavenger, Reserves, Finders, as well as Champion mods and whatever else you can fit. And this may seem crazy, but your stats don't matter. Because the exotic chest piece doesn't want you to use your super, you don't really need to worry about high intellect. And since you're constantly using Devour, recovery is irrelevant. That being said, if you want to min-max this build, go for High Resilience for just a little bit more health, and High Discipline for even faster grenades to ensure you always have Devour. When you take all the buffs into account, you get a 2.3 times multiplier for all weapon damage, and a 2.5 times multiplier if you decide to use elemental wells. In summary, use the damage buff from Mantle of Battle Harmony, stack that with Rampage and High Energy Fire and Sundering Glare. All your weapons will hit like a truck, actually more like a truck carrying 4 other trucks. You can also use elemental wells to increase your damage even further. However, they're kinda hard to get consistently and add the least amount of damage, so you may just want to leave them out of your build. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. What would you add to the build? Is there another build you would like me to make? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Marshix, and I'll see you next time.